All right, kings, gentlemen, everyone else, welcome to yet another exciting episode of Poorly Angled Car Video. Today I'm going to talk about the steps that Europe can take to protect itself from hybrid attacks, specifically what some people are calling fifth generation warfare, information warfare, PSYOPs. You know what I'm talking about. So, recently they had the presidential election in Romania, and in Romania the first round of the presidential election was won by one Călin Gheorghescu. Now, I could be mispronouncing that name. I don't speak Romanian, but my instincts tell me his name is Călin Gheorghescu. Romanians in chat, you might want to set me straight. Anyways, Călin Gheorghescu was a pro-Russia candidate. He was backed by the Russians and he was backed by the Chinese. He also pretended to be a nationalist. He was very populist, and he was elected because China and Russia flooded the information space, specifically by utilizing TikTok to propel him to superstardom. Interestingly enough, he actually displaced Romania's long-established nationalist and populist political parties. And so the Constitutional Court of Romania annulled the election. And this has led to a little bit of a crisis of legitimacy in the country because, well, it's not clear the Constitutional Court had the authority to do it. And while I support this decision, obviously we cannot allow our countries to be ruled by these Russia shells, by these bought and paid for assets of the Kremlin. This was done very inelegantly. It was done with questionable legality, and the shadow of doubt will prevail forever over whoever becomes the next president of Romania. Now, we have elections coming up in Germany. These are parliamentary elections, and we have now a situation where Elon Musk has endorsed the Alternative für Deutschland. Alternative für Deutschland is not just Kremlin assets. They have actual KGB agents in their governance structure. So this is the pro-Russia party, the anti-Europe party. This is the party of they like to pretend they're the party of German nationalism, but they are just as welcoming to replacement migration as all the other parties, with the caveat that they will also sell out Germany and the German economy to the Russians and the Chinese, given the opportunity. This is also a party of very lowbrow, very low IQ people who might just nosedive the country. Not that the current crop of criminals, it is very bleak in Germany. And so now we come to a strange situation. Likewise, we have Elon Musk endorsing Reform UK, which is run by Nigel Farage. And Nigel Farage, well, that's one abortion that came 60 years too late. But anyways, we are now faced with a conundrum where Europe, we have a bunch of elections coming up, and then you have the Chinese, you have the Russians, and now Elon Musk, in his function as chief oligarch of the newly minted shithole America, trying to interfere to flood the information space with disinfo, with shit, and therefore basically buy himself a couple of countries, with Germany and the United Kingdom in particular being of interest to him. So, in order to avoid the kind of constitutional fuckery that has taken place in Romania, certain steps need to be taken. First of all, ban TikTok. TikTok absolutely needs to be banned, not just because it can be used for election interference, but because have you been to TikTok? Have you seen what it does to young people? Just completely rots their brains from the inside out. They're completely useless. They turn into these degenerates who are not even having fun. It's like they're not even degenerates in the sense of having lots of promiscuous sex and drinking a lot of alcohol. They're just degenerate in the sense of staring at their phones and talking about Ohio. It's not even fun, right? So on that reason alone, we should have banned TikTok years ago. But now it's going to be used for election interference. Second of all, if a party is found to have literal KGB agents as part of its governance structure, well, at the very least we should do is ban the party and arrest the leadership. This is not going to take away the obvious threat of the Russians, of the Chinese, and the oligarchs in America, the PayPal mafia trying to buy European elections, but it will significantly reduce the class of assets that these people could hypothetically and possibly buy. So, for example, the Alternative for Deutschland, ban the party, scatter it, arrest the leadership, throw them in a deep, dark dungeon. The Russian assets, maybe you deport them to Russia using a trebuchet or a cannon, anything else. Reform UK, why the hell not? Ban the party, disband it, arrest the leadership. And in particular, Nigel Farage should be thrown in the Tower of London and his mouth stapled shut, or sewn shut, whichever works better. I'm stuck in the same point in traffic as last video. Jesus Christ, this city. So anyways, that's the minimum that ought to be done. Now, with regard to Twitter, ideally it would have been nationalized by the U.S. government and given First Amendment protection so everyone could have free speech over on Twitter. But as it happens, it has become the private megaphone, the private media megaphone of the PayPal mafia, and Elon Musk in particular. And now we have to treat it as a hostile site, just as we would TikTok. Now, that's not going to stop Twitter malfeasance in America, right? But we can stem the bleeding when it comes to Europe. Now, this is going to cause a bit of a problem. All of us in Europe, we have this problem because we depend on American social media. There is no European social media. So, maybe we should come up with an alternative. Maybe we should look into making a genuine public forum, right, where people can actually hash out their differences and use sort of a digital public space, which is not under the control of hostile powers, which, unfortunately, in the years to come, will also include the United States of America. Up until now, it was not really a problem because America was an ally of Europe, but now we're getting into this situation where America is becoming an enemy of Europe. Maybe not as bad an enemy, as resentful and hateful one as Russia or China, but definitely up there in terms of... And that's pretty much one of the big things about the MAGA movement. One of the big selling points of the MAGA movement is that they hate Europeans. They hate us for whatever reasons. Because we don't work, because we... don't drive pickup trucks, the whole MAGA-tarded reasons why they hate anyone, really. The object of odium is always Europeans. Those lazy European socialists, right? Anyways, now we have to think about America as an enemy state. I don't want to do that because, well, obvious reasons, but it is what it is. And of course, the social media space is a battlefield. This is not a free speech issue. I can already hear you typing furiously away. Oh, but what about free speech? Well, sorry, mate. Foreigners don't get a right to free speech, right? The point of free speech is so that the discussion at the national level, or in this case, the civilizational level, can be had so that we do not fall into that sort of complacency where only the elite have a voice. No, but unless you're part of the nation, or in this case, the civilization, if you're an outsider, well, you don't get to have these rights. You don't get to have a voice in our internal debates. I call this safeguarding the tribal discourse. Like, you would not allow someone from 3 houses down the street to have a say in the planning of your familial budget. And I don't see any reason why Chinese or Russian bots, or the little gargoyles that Elon's got on his payroll, why should they have a voice in European policy or European elections? So we're gonna have to play it by ear, because Northwestern Europeans simply do not have the stomach, nor do they have the requisite paranoia to assume that someone a complete stranger speaking to them actually is speaking in bad faith, maybe not telling the truth. But it's going to have to be done. It's going to be done either proactively with banning the offending actors, or, as in the Romanian case, retroactively by annulling elections. And nobody needs annulling elections. So anyways, that's it. I see a gypsy coming in. He's going to beg for money. So let's end this video.